The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
Have the New York Jets provided Geno Smith with the tools that he needs to succeed in 2026? Well, CBS Sports doesn't think so. Is their poor rating of the Jets supporting cast valid? We'll break that down and much more, all coming up here on a Friday edition of the Jake Asman Show, baby. Let's roll.
We sitting in here, we're excited as hell.
Now it's time to get to work. Are you a happy guy?
Oh my goodness, let's go!
I haven't felt joy talking about the Jets in a long time. When they announced it, I went, yeah! Let's go! A new chapter for the Jets has started. Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji are tasked with shaping the future of this franchise. Will they be the ones to finally get it right? We will be here for every step of the journey on the Jake Asman Show, breaking down all the storylines, every game, and everything in between. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super Chats, baby. Cut the line. The Jake Asman Show starts right now.
What is going on, New York Jet fans? Hello, everyone. Welcome back here into another episode of the Jake Asman Show. I'm Connor Long in for Jake Asman right here on this Friday afternoon. Jake traveling back from Atlantic City, Gangrene Beach Club, just one day away, so he's handling some stuff there. But I'm in for you right here on this Friday afternoon. Shout out to everyone tuning in. Hit like, hit subscribe on your way into the building. Questions, comments, thoughts, throw those in the chat. Super Chats will cut the line. And don't forget, baby, Raffle 81 is here. Every gifted membership will get you that quantifying amount of raffle tickets. $10 Super Chat or higher will get you in the raffle, baby. A Darrell Revis signed pylon. A Chad Pennington signed jersey, baby. A Breece Hall signed giveaway. And then Jets Legend jersey of your choice. That is Raffle 81 coming up. So, again, everyone, get your gifted memberships in. Get your Super Chat question in. That will cut the line right away. So, again, thank you all for joining us right here on the Jake Asman Show. I want to talk about a ranking that was put out the other day by Jared Dubin of CBS Sports. And I think this is a really interesting exercise. This time of year, we start to see a lot of outlets do it, and I think it's very important where supporting casts are ranked. And supporting casts, as Jets fans know firsthand, is, it's some of the most important, it's some of the most valuable positions on the depth chart, not only because of just the skill that is provided there, but also a quarterback is only as good as his supporting cast is. And we've seen that burn Jets QBs in the past. Look, Justin Fields wasn't perfect last year, but he had far from a viable supporting cast when it comes to a pass catching core standpoint. The Jets haven't been able to build a stable, functional offensive ecosystem in years. And look, the quarterback is the finishing piece. The quarterback is the commander-in-chief of the offense. There is no doubt about that whatsoever. But you also need to provide that QB with proven weapons, with established guys, so he could come in and succeed right away. And in these rankings, Dubin ranked the Jets having the 26th sixth worst supporting cast in the league. We'll break it down. So they put the Jets in the second to last tier of help wanted. The bottom tier is just the Dolphins. That was it. The Dolphins, they were in their own tier, according to Dubin. They were that bad. And then tier 6, help needed. And then the Jets fall in help wanted 2 tiers later at number 5. On this list, 28, they have the Carolina Panthers. 27, the New York Giants. 26 come the Jets. 25, the Houston Texans. 24, the Arizona Cardinals. Dubin writes, the Panthers received average rankings across the board, except they got a 3 at every position group. So basically, the way he structured this, it is a weighted grading system. 1 equals terrible, 3 equals average, 5 equals elite. The Jets, according to that, just got around a little over an average grade at 3.25 when you kind of tie everything together with the Giants. He writes, quote, I tried to bump the Giants up because this ranking seems pretty low for them, but Matt Nagy has been considered a below average play caller. The offensive line is probably slightly above average, parentheses 3.5. Until we see how the group fares with Francis Mauigoa sliding in at guard. The pass-catching group 3.5 is a star Malik Neighbors, but he's hurt and may not be ready for the season, and we can't give the running back duo higher than a slightly above average grade at 3.5 when Cam Skattebo is also coming off an injury. Completely valid points there that I agree with entirely. Then the next section, for the Jets, quote unquote, we also gave the other New York team's play caller, Frank Reich, a below average grade, and we're even less kind to him than Nagy, considering what happened in his previous 2 NFL stops. The slight difference between the Jets and Giants comes at running back, where we feel better about Breece Hall-led group than we do Skattebo and Tyrone Tracy. Look, I have been on the record on this very program dating back to about a week or 2 ago, talking about how I really, really like where the Jets roster is. I like the balanced approach they have taken to constructing this team ahead of the 2026 season. I like the offensive pieces they've added. I'm a big fan of both Omar Cooper Jr. and Kenyon Sadiq, but the points that Dubin laid out and where he had the Jets ranked, it's hard to criticize him. It's hard to blast the ranking because this Jets offense, this pass catching core, the 2 backup running backs in Isaiah Davis and Braylon Allen, overall, this offense is a very tantalizing ceiling, especially with all these young pieces, all the guys who are going to come in and have, again, very, very high ceilings and the abilities to make a difference right away. Like I am very high on the ceiling and what this offense can be long term. But when you talk about proven pieces in the league, guys on this team who have shown what they could do consistently at the NFL level, it's kind of hard to fault Dubin for having the Jets as low as the tier 5 help wanted list. I completely understand that. I think his concerns with Frank Reich are highly valid. I have been critical. I mean, I was right from the jump critical of the Frank Reich hire. He was out of the NFL for a year. If you look at his previous 2 stops in the league, he was fired in season as the Carolina Panthers head coach after leading them to a 1-10 start. This is someone who maybe doesn't have the best track record when it comes to developing quarterbacks. He was a QB himself, but I mean, look at the Bryce Young debacle in Carolina. The second he gets out of the picture and Dave Canales comes in, he's in the playoffs a couple years later. I don't necessarily think that's a coincidence. So at the end of the day, I completely agree with maybe being a little pessimistic on Reich, and will his scheme be able to modernize and fit the modern day? We haven't seen that in years. So at the end of the day, I think the concerns with Frank Reich and what he's going to be as the Jets offensive coordinator, those are entirely valid. I understand those. But at the end of the day, something that I broke down in a recent article for Jets X Factor is the way that he fits with Geno Smith and Garrett Wilson. I think the schematic correlation is very key. And now this may be a guy, again, we question, well, how is his scheme going to be able to adapt in 2026? How is he going to be able to use 2 tight ends, one in Kenyon Sadiq, who he heavily, based on the draft video that's even in the introduction, someone he heavily advocated for to be added to this offense. This isn't someone who likes to use a lot of 12 personnel in Reich. How is he going to be able to integrate the 2 tight ends in Mason Taylor and Kenyon Sadiq? That remains unknown. So there are a lot of question marks, but when you talk about the fit with Geno Smith, and that's very important. It's like in basketball, the relationship that a head coach has with his point guard. It's even further emphasized in the NFL space, an offensive coordinator and his quarterback. So when you look at the schematic tendencies and verbatim of what I wrote in a Jets X Factor article about a month ago, quote unquote, Reich emphasizes in/dig outs 2.2% higher than the NFL average, while it is also Smith's best route per EPA, plus 0.285 expected points added versus the NFL average. Reich also uses drag routes 1.4% more than the league average, where Smith also excels with a 0.252 EPA. Hitch/curl routes are also heavily featured in Reich's system, 17.9%, which is another one of Smith's strengths with a plus 0.112 EPA. He has historically relied less on the post and go balls, where Smith has struggled accuracy-wise, and that's something he hasn't necessarily used a lot throughout the course of his NFL career. So there is the schematic correlation and the alignment there, which I think is very important. And we've had the conversations really since he was signed. What could happen to get Geno Smith back to the level of play, to what he was playing like with the Seattle Seahawks just a couple seasons ago? Well, step one is having that overall schematic cohesiveness with the OC. And there's that. And then when you talk about Garrett Wilson, he also fits into that picture when it comes to the routes that he's ran the most throughout his career and had the most success with. So while I understand the concerns with Reich on the surface of, hey, what is this 64-year-old going to do in 2026? There are question marks there. Sure, absolutely, completely understanding that. I'm not arguing that whatsoever. What I am saying, though, is at least there's that fit. I would be much more concerned about Reich and what he's going to do this season if there wasn't a fit between him and the quarterback. There is that, and that's a reason, at the very least, for some sort of optimism that Geno could take a step in the right direction this season, that he can improve. And when it comes to the weapons around him, I think Breece Hall is in line to have the best season he's had yet. He's going to have a quarterback for the first time in his career who can actually throw the ball in Geno Smith. Last year was his first year playing behind a semi-competent offensive line, and he set a career high in rushing yards, going for over 1,000 on the ground. This year, I think we could very, very well see him cross that 1,100-yard mark when it comes to rushing yards. I think this is a guy I'd keep an eye on to have a career year as a receiver as well. I think he's going to be used in the red zone. I'm intrigued to see how Reich deploys him and what that connection is like between him and Geno Smith, particularly in the passing game, and what that looks like. So I'm very optimistic on Breece Hall. I think with Braylon, like what we've seen with Braylon Allen past really year and 4 games. So 21 games he's played throughout his career after cutting his season short, suffering a season-ending knee injury in week 4 last year. At the end of the day, Braylon is a guy who has excelled in these short yardage situations, and I think it's about getting him in those situations, right? He's not a 3-down back. There's no doubt about that. I've been fairly critical of him when it comes to people saying, oh, he's this surefire RB2, because he hasn't shown that throughout his career. Him and Isaiah Davis as well, they've shown flashes of, okay, maybe this guy could be something. Maybe he could be the long-term RB2 behind Breece, but nothing consistent or sustainable throughout the course of a 17-game season that necessarily shows me that. So I think this is very much a prove-it year for Isaiah Davis and Braylon Allen. This is the 3rd year of their NFL careers they're each going into, so it is time for them to prove who they are, prove that they could earn a spot right behind Breece Hall in this backfield as the clear-cut RB2. Maybe they earn an extension if they outplay expectations. That's something Darren Muji's shown he's very willing to do in 2 off seasons as the Jets GM. So I think the intriguing situation in the Jets offense, obviously aside from Geno, is to see how the Jets distribute touches in the backfield and kind of the way they use Davis and Allen behind Breece Hall. Thank you all for tuning in right here on a Friday edition of the Jake Asman Show. Connor Long in for Jake Asman. Jake traveling back from Atlantic City, Gangrene Beach Club. Just 1 day away, baby. You can still get your tickets with the link down in the description down below. There is going to be reporters. There are going to be fans. There are going to be analysts. Everyone you guys know, mostly everyone you know who's around this team, will be there. You say their name and they will be in AC tomorrow. Even Jets legend Wayne Corbett is making an appearance. The show is presented by PrizePicks. Again, remember, Gangrene Beach Club, just 1 day away. You could still get your tickets if you haven't already. Link in the description down below.
Hey, Jet fans. This Saturday, July 11th, in Atlantic City at the Ocean Casino Resort, HQ2 Club, there's a big party. Gangrene Beach Party. Let's go. Listen, Wayne Corbett, all the Jet reporters will be there, the podcasters, a ton of the fans. It's gonna be a cast of characters, all the people that love and support the green and white. Let's go. Listen, it's gonna be a great day. We'll have a few cocktails. We'll talk about the state of the Jets. You gotta like what you see so far. Let's hope it's going to be a good season. I look forward to seeing everybody in Atlantic City on Saturday for the Gangrene Beach Party. Let's go!
The Jake Asman Show is now presented by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is a daily fantasy app made simple. Just pick more or less on your favorite players' projections and build your lineup in seconds. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use code HMA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. And PrizePicks is already offering NFL futures, including futures for New York Jets players. Take a look at the lineup that you see on the screen. Garrett Wilson, more than 4.5 reception touchdowns. David Bailey, he's going to have at least 7 sacks his rookie year. Arvell Reese, almost a Jet. I think he'll have at least 3 sacks in his rookie year with the Giants. That is a 3-pick power play, $10 to pay out $60. That is just an example of some of the lineups you can make over at PrizePicks. Make your own lineups today for any sport. Just download the PrizePicks app, use the code HMA, and get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup.
Boom, we're back. Connor Long in for Jake Asman right here on a Friday edition of the Jake Asman Show. Don't forget, baby, Raffle 81. Give memberships to get in right here on the giveaway coming up. $10 Super Chat or higher will also get you in the raffle. And again, Super Chats, cut the line, get your question read or comment brought up right away. Our guy Jake Asman, who's out in AC, dropping in already with $2 Super Chat. Shout out to you, Jake. So send your questions and comments in for Connor. Woo, yes, sir. Jake, again, always a blast to fill in for you. Hope you're doing well, my friend. And I hope you're traveling safely back home from Atlantic City as you are helping prep HQ2 for a big event tomorrow. That's going to be a lot of fun for all the Jets fans attending. Again, Raffle 81, a Darrelle Revis signed pylon. You're looking at a Chad Pennington signed jersey as another giveaway, a Breece Hall signed helmet, and then a Jets Legends jersey, number 74, Nick Mangold, rest in peace. Again, Super Chats, memberships, get those in. Those get you into the raffle right here on the show. Thank you all for hanging out with us right here on the program. Hit like, hit subscribe, load up your calls on the hotline, pin link at the top. Now, with the new YouTube update, I got to use this. The link is pinned kind of towards the bottom of the chat now. So, again, everyone, appreciate you all joining us right here on the show. Call into the show. Load up your calls on the hotline. We're going to get to those shortly. Let's dive into the chat. Cisco Lopez says, poor Connor, Jets, Mets, Nets. Let me guess, an Islander fan, too. Yeah, we don't even have to begin to divulge into how bad and incompetent the organizations I root for are. But no, I'm not an Islander fan. I'm actually a Ranger fan, and that isn't much better. Although I am a casual when it comes to hockey, so I'm not going to pretend like I care as much as the diehards do. Like, my Jet fandom is not nearly as close to my level of fandom for the Rangers. But yeah, there's no sort of hope even with the team I'm a casual fan of. So down in the dumps, Cisco. That's where it's at right now. Nick Shine dropping in with a $5 Super Chat. Shout out to you, Nick. Thanks so much for supporting the show. Appreciate the kind words. Just can't wait to hang out with Connor at Gangrene Beach Club year 7. Yeah, I am. Well, I'm turning 15 5 days from now. So assuming that it's the same date, 7 years, 8 years, whatever it is. I'm sure I'll see you at a tailgate or something along those lines this year, Nick. But yes, it's going to be quite some time until I am age eligible to attend HQ2 for Gangrene Beach Club. Jake Asman, our guy's getting it started with the memberships. Dropped 1. That membership goes to Nutty Squirrel Q7P. Shout out to you, Jake. Thanks for getting it started. And then Derek, the Kansas Jet fan, drops in and follows that up with a gifted membership, which goes to a Logic Bomb. Derek, Jake, thanks so much for the continued support right here on the channel. Jake says this gifted membership is to enter Connor in the raffle. There we go, baby. And help pay for his next lunch at school. There we go, Jake. Thank you so much for the continued support. Shout out to Derek again for dropping in and gifting a membership right here on the program as well. Cisco says, when you say Sadiq, you got to say the freak. That is certainly one that has popped off the screen. Certified freak 7 days a week as I am trying to find the clip in Jake's StreamYard with, I wish everyone could see just how many clips from this show are saved, how many iconic moments are loaded up in these multiple StreamYard files. But yes, Adam Sheen, Kenyon Sadiq, a match made in heaven. That is that is for sure. Shout out to everyone watching. Again, hit like, hit subscribe. Really appreciate all of your support here on the show as always. Jake says, search Sheen, and it should be up there. Where are we at? Where is this? I see it. It's kind of coming up. There we go. Here it is, Kenyon Sadiq, certified freak. 7 days a
I
week.
was obsessed with Sadiq, certified freak. 7 days a week, has a hernia tweak. Obsessed with Sadiq, certified freak. Trying to critique what I read in Newsweek. Obsessed with Sadiq, certified freak. Trying to take a peek at his manly physique. Obsessed with Sadiq, certified freak. Time to take a leak and play hide and go seek.
There we go. Boom. Shout out to Jake for the assist there. I was doing the Command F and Sadiq instead of Sheen. So that was a error on my end. Nick Shine with a pretty valid comment. Jake's StreamYard is more difficult than finding the Declaration of Independence. Shout out Nicolas Cage. So Jake even does a great job of organizing it too. Jake has all these different folders that are clearly labeled and set up and things like that. The show is just so iconic with so many incredible moments. It's just so hard to divvy them up and put them in different areas. But Jake does an incredible job of doing just that. I want to dive into a comment earlier today made by Terry and Arnold's agent, Nicole Lynn, at his court hearing, indicating that the Jets are one of 4 teams that have checked in on him since he was released from the Dolphins a couple weeks ago. The verbiage she used was the Jets have reached out. He has already had 1 workout since being released, that coming with the Houston Texans. The teams that have reached out to him include the Colts, the Jets, the Seahawks, and obviously the Texans, who have also worked him out. Lynn added that there is, quote unquote, a very good likelihood that he'll sign within the next 48 days. This is an interesting conversation, so I want to talk about it on the show. I'm interested to gauge your thoughts on and how you guys feel about this. For me, this is a hard no. I am not interested in adding Terrion Arnold to this team. I just don't see the benefit with it, to be completely honest with you. You're looking at a guy who, take out the off-field concerns. First off, the charges would need to be dropped. He'd need to be found not guilty for this to even really become a possibility. Right now, the ongoing legal issue takes center stage. Him fitting with the Jets or any other team is on the back burner until this trial officially plays out. And I completely understand the intrigue of, he's a first-round pick and he's worked with Glenn, and if the charges are dropped, yada, yada, yada. Well, first, we'll start with the charges. And again, these would need to be dropped for him to even have a chance of signing with the Jets. But in June, he was arrested and charged with 8 felonies, 4 counts of kidnapping, and 4 other counts of armed robbery. Again, he's facing up to life in prison. These are legitimate felonies. These are legitimate crimes. Again, facing up to life behind bars. According to prosecutors, over $250,000 of his $250,000, worth of his personal belongings were stolen from an Airbnb in February. To follow, it's alleged that he orchestrated a plot to retaliate, luring 3 men to an apartment. At the apartment, the 3 men were held at gunpoint, pistol whipped, and robbed. Allegedly, though, the victims had no relation to the missing items. He then turned himself into authorities in Tampa Bay, Florida. He posted a $1 million bond, and then he was released by the Lions days later. Now he is in court facing these charges. So, again, there's that layer, and it's a very complicated situation. There is the off-field concerns that are very, very, very glaring, undoubtedly. Completely agree and understand with those who are weary of that. But, even if you take that out of the picture, Terrion Arnold, the player, has not been very effective the past years. There's the off-field stuff, and then there's the fact that this guy just hasn't been very good 2 years in the league. I really don't think there is any other way about it. This past year with the Dolphins, 52.6 overall grade from PFF, the 97th best among 114 qualified cornerbacks. He had an interception, 28 solo tackles. In coverage, he was far from perfect. There is no way around that. Allowed 23 of his 41 targets to be completed for 331 yards and 2 touchdowns. Had 4 pass breakups, which was nice, but 6 penalties to boot. The year prior, he didn't grade out much better. He played in more games, but still a similar amount of issues in coverage. Had even more penalties with 10, so you're reaching the double-digit territory there. Allowed 56 and 93 targets to be completed for 728 yards. Had a 0-4 interception to touchdown allowed ratio. I just think, even take the off-field stuff out of the picture, I don't get the benefit. I don't see the benefit that Arnold would bring to this Jets secondary. At cornerback right now, it's already a very crowded room at the top of the depth chart. You have Brandon Stevens, Azarie Thomas, Jarvis Brownlee Jr., D'Angelo Pons, Nashawn Wright. All those guys competing for significant snaps right away. Arnold, you'd bring him in. That would cause a distraction right away. You know how the New York media is with all that stuff. And then still, what is the risk reward there? I don't get it. I really don't. And I see the connection to Glenn, and I know it's a first-round draft pedigree, but, like, I just don't get the fit with the Jets. I really don't. Where the Jets are right now, trying to stay away from distractions. There's the Geno stuff playing out right now off field. I don't see the benefit of adding another concern into the picture when it comes to character. And even furthermore, beyond that, I don't see the legitimate upside or talent, really, that he adds to this room. I think he's better fit, again, if these charges are dropped and everything's fine, which we don't know. We're going to have to see it as this situation plays out and wait for updates. I think he's better off going to a team that's contending. Like, where the Jets are right now from a timeline standpoint, how strong their roster is, and then you also couple that with how crowded the secondary currently is right now. I don't see the benefit in throwing Arnold into the picture. Another distraction. I don't get it. I really don't. Let me hear your thoughts on this in the chat. Questions, comments, thoughts. Throw those in. Super chats will cut the line. Get your question read right away. Again, don't forget about our raffle. Every gifted membership will get you that amount of tickets into the raffle. $10 or higher super chats will also qualify. We see Jake Asman saying whoever calls in during Connor's show will get a raffle ticket in next week's Maniac raffle. Thanks to Connor for holding it down. Again, Jake, thanks for the continued support here on the program, baby. Really appreciate you and always being so willing to give me these opportunities. So again, load up your calls on the hotline. We have a couple people on hold. We're going to get to you guys in a little bit, but call into the show with the link in the chat. We have a few gifted memberships to catch up on. Our guy Rick Kent drops in with a 5-pack of memberships, baby. Shout out to you, Rick Kent. Thanks so much for your support here on the show. Really appreciate it. Rick's the best. Thank you for continuing to support the channel right here on the Jake Asman Show. Even when Jake isn't here, he drops in and gives 5. What a legend.
Get your ass off my super chats. Some of these are gifted memberships too.
Hey.
The hell with it.
Jet Up 24 drops in again, and he becomes a member right here on the channel. Back to back, the 5 people who received gifted memberships, while Jet Up 24 also becomes a member, include MD Jets, Bosky XU9CC, Avita's OG, Justin H76, the War Fleetus. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Thank you so much, Rick Kent. Appreciate your support right here on the channel. And shout out to JetUp24 for also becoming a member right here on the program, baby. Again, the Asmaniac raffle's going on. Whoever calls in from the man himself, Jake, on this show, will get a free raffle ticket in. So load up your calls with the link in the chat, baby. Let's go over to the phone lines. And starting us off right here on the show is no other than
Connor, how you doing, brother?
Well, my friend, how are you?
I've had better. I'm just looking for some stuff on eBay that I want to get my hands on, but unfortunately, this I don't see anything with the team going on, and it's we don't need this guy from jail. No, we can't take prisoners. No, can't.
Terrion Arnold doesn't interest you, Beast?
No, I mean, he looks great, but unfortunately, you got a felon, like as in like a background. Whoops. Better check that again, because
Beast M. Vallette wants to know if you have any jet takes.
Who?
M. Vallette wants to know if you have any jet takes.
And someone wants that, mind your business. Don't worry about my business. Worry about your own business.
Beast, JD Surf City says no pocket pool. JD Surf City says no pocket pool comments.
I got news for you, bud. You want to work a soup kitchen? Here, get a spoon. Go work some tomato soup.
Beast, what happened on the morning show? I was listening a little bit, and I heard a comment made about pocket pool. That is,
pocket pool's funny. It's something to ease the mind, ease control. Plus, it also works on hand and eye coordination. Plus, I'm getting ready because in a couple of weeks, we're getting ready for that preseason football season, which is right around the corner. Tampa, Pittsburgh, and the G-Men. That's what looks good. I'm like, Tampa, I know we're gonna punch them in the balls a little because what did they do to us last year? Oh, did I hit a nerve? Did I hit a nerve? Yes, I did. It's called they cheated us out of our shorts because what did they do to us? Ka-ching! You know what I mean, right? Ka-ching!
Beast, I think Hawk has a bit of a question for you, although I don't know if it's PG-13, but we'll pull it up. He says he's asking if you play pocket pool in public, like on the bus, since you mentioned it on the show.
No,
today.
I don't do that on my phone. My phone's only for like YouTube music and that, and plus the only stuff that I listen to is metal only based, and I like to keep it private. And
Beast, Joe wants me to ask you about Storm Igloo Care and Storm Lawn Care.
Oh, get the hell out of here with that crap! I'm not running a circus here. It's called if you're gonna insult my business, then you want to take your ball, take your head, shove it up your own goddamn dead ass, and beat it.
Interesting. I like it. Do you have any Jet points, Beast?
Well, for next year, let's see what we can do. And I expect Glenn to get his head out of his ass because this year it's time to hear one of two things: one, put up or shut up; two, just win, baby.
Just leave a message. Just leave a message. Thank you.
Beast with a call to remember, as all of them are. Shout out to Beast. Thanks for joining us right here on the show. Thanks for calling in right here on the program. Again, continue to get all your questions, your comments, your thoughts in the chat. Super chats, 10 or higher will get you in the raffle. Every gifted membership will as well. So be sure to get those into the chat. Also, calling into the show will get you a free raffle entry in Raffle 81, giving away several exciting prizes: Darrell Revis signed pylon, a Chad Pennington signed jersey, a Breece Hall signed helmet, a Nick Mangold a Nick Mangold jersey. So again, get in the raffle. Every gifted membership will get you that amount of raffle entries. $10 super chats or higher will get you in. You call into the show, you also get a raffle ticket right here on the program. Keeping it moving with your calls. Next up here on the show is David T, baby.
I got my eye on you. Checkmate me, full screen. It's fireball, whiskey time. David motherfucking T.
Hi, Connor.
David, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I think you're terrific, and I know when you stand in. When standing for Jake, he knows you're going to have a great show. I have a question.
Thank you.
And I have a question for you. You're only 15, but your maturity is beyond your years. Do you plan on going to college? And do you? I think I kind of know the answer. Your what you would like to do with your life in the future?
I want to do this. I want to work in sports media, do a show, whether that be or journalism or something like that. I don't know exactly yet, but like I'm kind of just leaving my options open, and definitely want to work in the sports media biz full time and doing whether that be broadcasting, writing, so on and so forth.
That's what I figured. You're well on your way. And as far as the Jets go, I'm at a point where I'm going to be at the first game in Nashville, and to me, that's my Super Bowl. I'm in a dilemma with the Jets because I'm like up, down, all over the place. I gotta root for the Jets, but I mean they've got a lot of talent coming in. They got the draft picks the following year and money and everything. I think the GM is really good, but I'm just not on the Aaron Glenn train. So my dilemma is, do I root for him? I mean, with the Jets, do I not root for him because I'd like to see an experienced coach come in next year? I guess the word is quandary or whatever.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Look, I mean, for me, from a fan perspective, I'm rooting for Glenn. I still want him to succeed. Like, at the end of the day, although I've been critical of him too, I want to be wrong. Like, too often with this team, I have been right on maybe some more negative takes. And when I try to be a little optimistic, I end up being wrong. I would much rather be wrong on Aaron Glenn and have my assessment of, I thought he should have been fired after this season. I'd much rather have him prove me wrong than have to sit and go through another 3-game season. That's just where I'm at right now. And look, I understand the perspective of like, shoot, even if he wins 7 games this year, I don't know how confident I am in him drafting a quarterback or him even developing the quarterback after he is drafted. So I completely understand, and I think those concerns are valid. But for me, from my personal perspective right now, I am on the train of rooting for Aaron Glenn and hoping that he is able to turn it around and get it on the right track. How do you feel about the current state of the roster right now?
Oh, I think it's with the arrow pointing up, and I listen to all you guys analyzing the players, and I think the offense is going to be exciting. The defense, I don't know. Aaron Glenn's going to call the plays and everything. Maybe it'll take a jump up. I don't know, but I mean that's the thing. I mean, they have the potential to the players and the potential to have not an upper level season, but a better season and
a competitive year. Yeah.
A competitive year with a New York Jet team on the field,
Sure. Yeah, I get what you're saying there. Just like a fun team to watch, a team that isn't getting blown out every game, a team that I always kind of draw that parallel back to the 2022 season where they ended up finishing with 7 wins. And I mean, the way they closed it out was obviously atrocious, but that was a team that was largely in every game. They were competitive. They weren't getting outplayed. The defense was feisty. They were one of the best in football. Special teams was good. Didn't have a quarterback, so you're hoping you can kind of get that with Geno to a degree this season. I really like the direction they're headed in right now, just from like an overall roster standpoint and the moves they've made there.
Yes, sir. So the bottom line for me, Connor, is I've only ever been to 3 live Jet games in my life. They've lost them all, but I'm going to be at the Nashville game, and to me, that's going to be my Super Bowl. And then,
there we go.
After that, let the chips fall where they may.
Yes, sir.
Whether Aaron Glenn, who knows? I mean, he could elevate himself and go on to the next year. He might not. It's going to be an interesting year, though. I mean, that's the one thing I'm really looking forward to it.
Here we go. You better be hitting this in Nashville, David, too.
It's Jets, Jets. I love Fireman Ed, too.
Are we going to hear that from Nashville, David?
Jets, Jets.
There we go, baby. David, thanks for the call, man. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, buddy.
Of course. David T, baby. 1 of 1. Great call from him. As always, appreciate his kind words. Appreciate his support right here on the show. And if you guys are just joining us, you call into the show and you guys get a free ticket into Raffle 81, where we are giving away Darrelle Revis signed pylon, a Chad Pennington signed jersey, a Breece Hall signed helmet, and then a Nick Mangold jersey to get in. If you don't want to call in, which is the free way to get a ticket, if you don't want to do that, you can still give memberships. You get 5 memberships. You get 5 raffle tickets, 10 tickets, so on and so forth. Then send in a qualifying super chat of $10 or higher to also get in. Questions, comments, thoughts, continue to throw those in the chat. We're going to get to those throughout the course of the show. Continue to load up your calls right here on the hotline. We'll keep those going. Next up here on the show is Kyle Clifton. Kyle, what's up?
I'm glad it's you, Connor, because I got a lot of stuff to get off my chest.
Let's hear it.
So these rat bastards, they're leaving us up here in New York. They're taking off to Atlantic City. They're going to dip their toes in the pool and have a good time. Yeah, you're not going, right?
I can't. I'm not 21 or plus.
Well, that's right. You're too
Yeah.
young to go. I'm too old to go. I've got all these crazy responsibilities now. And like I got the fear of missing something over here. It's terrible.
You can. It's all right. I mean, at least you have a Friday afternoon show to kind of.
And we have each other.
There you go. Exactly.
That's right. So as we say in Queens, those red bastards.
Love it. Yeah. What a quote.
So I guess my hopes are not high for Geno.
Okay.
And I say that and I qualify it a little bit. Do I think he's going to be better than Justin Fields? Of course. He's going to take chances downfield. We do have speed on the offense. The offense should be improved, but
sure.
I feel like Geno has been on the decline for a little bit. I think Jake was touching on this a little bit earlier. When I did have a chance to kind of check in on the earlier show. Are we still sure that he's the top 20 quarterback in the league? I don't know.
I confidently feel that way.
Really?
I do. And like, if you look at his 3 seasons with Seattle, I was talking about this on another podcast last night. People were like, well, why did Seattle get rid of him? Because Geno was their bridge quarterback, just to a higher extent. Like, I'm not saying you can win a Super Bowl with Geno. Like, I just don't think that's who he is. But I think he's more than capable of winning 7 to 9 games if he's able to reach that level. And like, I don't know, the further and further I dig and like, with some of the analytics I could pull out, I could get really in the weeds. I'm not going to do that. But like, look at last year and his effectiveness. PFF did a great job of breaking down where he ranked on EPA on 0 graded throws, which is like passes right around the line, essentially the simple stuff, just doing the simple things well. His EPA on that was the 8th best in football. And with that, and keep in mind, last year was atrocious for him. We all know that. If this team was getting Geno Smith after 2024 with the Seahawks, I think we'd be much more excited than we are right now. So this was last year during his down season with the Raiders. That was the 8th best in football. If he could just bring that to the Jets, do the simple things right. Aside from Rodgers in 2024, who fell dramatically short of those expectations, as we know, the Jets haven't had someone who could do those simple things right since Ryan Fitzpatrick. So that alone is going to be a huge upgrade. You're getting a guy in Geno who could do the easy things correctly. He has the fundamental level of play, which the Jets need at the quarterback position and which they've lacked for all too long. Beyond that, when you look at his numbers when he was under pressure versus in a clean pocket last year, it's night and day. Kind of just the main stats in a clean pocket last year. 81.9% adjusted completion rate, 7.4 yards per attempt, plus 0.24 EPA per dropback. Then under pressure, 63.8% adjusted completion rate, 5.3 yards per attempt, negative 0.71 EPA per dropback. I mean, the negatives just outweighed the positives because 40% of his dropbacks came under pressure. That is crazy to me. Like, that was the worst offensive line in football last year, if not a bottom 3 unit. The Jets are going to be exponentially better up front. They're going to have much more pass-catching options. As I broke down at the top of the show, his schematic alignment with Reich is far clearer than it was with Chip Kelly and Pete Carroll last year. So I just think it's a much better situation for him. And like, the numbers still suggest when he had a clean pocket and was able to throw, it was in a much better situation.
And are you at all troubled by the fact that his decision-making off the field is going to, kind of deter him from success here? I mean, to have this person who is obviously low class haranguing you at home, no matter, we don't really know what happened there.
Yeah,
but it's alarming. The continually getting pulled over without the license is alarming. It's at 36 years old, you would hope that this guy would have his ducks in a row a little bit better.
Agreed.
And that's kind of, I feel like he's going to put forth the effort on the field to kind of make sure his career continues. And I think that we're going to be better. But, if people feel like we're going to be a top 15 team in offense on the league, that's where I start to get a little skittish on it.
Well, I'll throw this in about Geno. So the accusations of domestic violence or whatever category that those charges would come in if they were pressed, and he was if he was not, excuse me, if he was prosecuted on that and like it actually went to court and he was found guilty of committing those actions, sure, that's a completely different conversation we could have.
I think that if he gets charged, they're going to release him. I do.
I don't know. We haven't gotten to that point. What the Davie Police Department, I don't know about the Jets, but what that police department has, we don't know if they have any information. We don't know if that case is just open because they were like, all right, this happened. There was an incident. There were officers there. Let's just look back and make sure we have our P's and Q's in line. We don't know anything. So right now, for me, that's a nothing burger. And then when it comes to, and again, if he's proven guilty or those charges are pressed, then it becomes a story. But for me right now, those are nothing more than accusations. I could put out a post right now online, Kyle, that you came over to my house and you beat me. That would be nothing unless I was actually proven guilty of it. It came out in June. It's in the off-season lull. That's going to make headlines. With the traffic violation stuff, sure. Do you want to see him maybe have his license on him and be a little less combative and make sure his tags are up to date? Absolutely. But those are traffic citations. Those aren't crimes. Those aren't misdemeanors. Those aren't criminal offenses. Those are tickets that you could pay without having to appear in court. So I understand what you're saying, trying to be a little more responsible, 36, causing a bit of a ruckus off the field. Agree with you there 100%. But at the end of the day, for me, those aren't big enough to deter and kind of forget about what he's been able to accomplish these past couple of years and just his overall fit with the Jets.
So I will readily admit that is the historical Jets fan perspective. I can't forget that he is the guy that was here that got his team jaw broken by his teammate over a small amount of money.
Fair.
So this is the problem that I'm as much as you might want to embrace the armedness, Geno, the cerebral quarterback that Geno has become, and I'm trying to balance that with some of the choices in his personal life, some of the historical stuff that we had hoped that he'd put in the rearview mirror, and also maybe perhaps even some declining skills. That's all I had, Connor, and you're doing a terrific job, and I will talk to you soon.
Appreciate it, Kyle. Have a great rest of your day, man. Appreciate you. There we go. Kyle Clifton checking in here on the show. Look, I understand the concerns, and I understand why people may be a little more pessimistic on Geno after all this. It really hasn't changed my position. And again, if he's found guilty on this, if he is charged, if he's prosecuted, if he goes to court, if he gets sentenced to prison, it's a much different conversation. But right now, for me, the traffic stuff, again, you want to see him have his license. You want to see him have the tags up to date. But those are traffic citations that you can pay without having to even show up to court. So that really doesn't mean that much to me. And then the accusations of domestic violence, as I kind of just laid out, is a complete non-story to me right now. It's just someone out there putting out accusations for now. Again, subject to change depending on what happens with those investigations. But right now, those are nothing more than someone saying that, accusing him of something that's very serious, sure, but we have not seen any clear, concrete evidence. He hasn't been charged with any of that. And again, who knows what's happening right now in that investigation. Once there are more updates, though, then that can kind of overall strengthen the perspective and the stance that people may have on him as it pertains to his future with the organization. How do the Jets approach it? What do they do? I don't know. Right now, it's very layered. It's very complicated, and more updates will only offer more clarity. Shout out to our guy, Aaron, dropping in with a $10 super chat, baby. Shout out to you, Aaron. Thanks so much for supporting the show. Says if Glenn is bad defensively and Reich is carrying the team with the offensive play being good, what is your prediction for the record? Does Glenn still keep job with the playoff berth? Love you, Connor. Thanks so much for the support, Aaron. Really means a lot. Thanks for the super chat. That'll qualify you into raffle 81, baby. Again, gift memberships, $10 super chats or higher will get you into the raffle. If you literally just call into the show right here on this Friday afternoon edition of the Jake Asman Show, you will get a free raffle ticket. Continue to load all your calls up with the link in the chat. Questions, comments, thoughts, continue to throw those in the building as well. And super chats will obviously cut the line and get your question read right away. Look, it's interesting because it depends like how bad and then how good Reich is. We'll say Glenn overall finishes with a bottom 10 defense, something like that. So they've bottom 10, bottom 12. And then Reich finishes with a top 12 to 15 offense. My record prediction, 7-10, like something like that. I think there are much more questions about the offense than the defense. Like if the Jets offense can be in the top 10 to 12% of the league, the defense just needs to be like not historically bad. Like if the Jets offense is that good, they can get away with maybe being a little sluggish on the defensive end of the ball. So I'd say 7-10, 6-11 in that range. With playoff berth, does Glenn still keep his job? Absolutely. I think 7, and Jake spoke about this earlier on the morning show. I thought it was a good point. 7, it depends how you win 7 games as it pertains to how he would fit and like how do you win 7 games? Do you start off really nicely and then tail off, or do you get up to an awful start and then win just like 7 out of your last 9? It all depends on how you win 7. But if you win 8, though, I think 8 or above, regardless how that is done, Glenn will come back. This team hasn't won more than 7 games in a decade. I don't think you can justify firing Aaron Glenn if he were to break that mark, regardless of how he does it. I think 8, regardless of how he wins 8, he's back. Playoff berth, not even a question in my opinion. So that's where I stand on Glenn right now. But yeah, it's hard to convince people to support him, defend him, have optimism regarding his team entering year 2 with just how bad year 1 was. The 3 wins is one thing, absolutely. But furthermore, like we just saw no player development on this team. Nobody on the defense got substantially better. Nobody really punched above their weight class, maybe with the lone exception of 2 or 3 guys on this roster. Just overall, it was a really bad year for him. I think this season is more important than ever for him to get off to a strong start, take a step in the right direction. Win week 1 is as close to a must-win as a week 1 game is. Beyond that, you got to take at least one of those games, one of those 3 games against the NFC North opponents. Those first 4 weeks are very, very, very important. If he starts off 0-4, I don't know if he has a job. And that's nothing I'm reporting or nothing I've sourced. It's just, if he starts off 0-4, there are going to be legitimate yelling for his job. Legitimate. So, for him, I think it all starts with getting off to a positive start this season. Jay says, do you have a Speedo, Connor? No, I do not. But when I make my appearance at a Gangrene Beach Club in 2030, whatever, I'm sure Jake will Photoshop me into one. But no, don't, and I don't intend on ever owning a Speedo, Jay. Oh, Cisco comes in with the best Nets player that Connor Long loves. A Nets question. Wow. Don't want to bore the audience, so I'll handle this quickly. My favorite Nets player right now probably have to be Yegor. I mean, everyone on the team is so new, but probably have to be Yegor. And this is someone who wasn't even a fan of the pick to begin with, but the personality, the 3-point shooting, the size, the physicality, I don't know. He's a player that I really like, and I'm intrigued to see where his NBA career takes him, especially if he's able to consistently shoot the 3 ball. I'm looking forward to watching Yegor's future. Cisco also says, Connor's favorite Jets player of all time for you. Connor's building his Mount Rushmore. Who would be in it? Mount Rushmore of my favorite Jets. That's tough because there are going to be some people on this list. There are going to be some people on this list who I didn't see play. That's just the reality of it. There are going to be some people on the list who I just haven't seen play, but like just from like an overall impact standpoint, that's what I'll base it off of. So you have to put Joe Namath up there, obviously. Okay, he says it's your list. Okay, so guys, then in that case, I'll do it on guys I've seen play since I've like been watching or been an avid follower of the team. If it's my list, that's the way I'll do it. Sauce would have to be on it. I know he's not on the team anymore, but Sauce would definitely have to be up there. I'd go Sauce, Garrett, and then Quinnen's definitely in the conversation. I saw I don't vividly remember watching Mangold, but like there had to be a year where he was on the team and I was following. Like probably just as I was getting into it. When did he last play for the Jets? 2016. So I would I'm not going to count him in there because 2015 is like when I really first can recall watching games, and I don't remember who Nick Mangold was until then. Again, I'm basing this also off of guys that I have seen play. If you do it all time, it would be entirely different. But Cisco said it's my list. So I'll say Sauce, Garrett, Quinnen, and then the final spot is tough. Like if you just think of important positions, I don't know about Brees. I see M123 staying in there. Brees, I don't know. The fourth spot is up for grabs. I mean, you could definitely make a case for Brees. I'm trying to think back to like some of the older teams. When I say older, I mean like 21, 22. Was there anyone competent on those squads? It's tough. People might, yeah. There we go. I have such crappy Jets to pick from. Exactly. There it is. Exactly. You could give it to maybe Jamal Adams. I know people aren't happy with the way it left out, but like he's in the conversation when it comes to just pure overall production. So it's interesting. I'm intrigued to see the way that this will all play out. Like how does this change over the next few years? Hopefully someone could break out on this list. Sislick says I'm not interested in the status quo because that list is basically the same. More interesting, your favorite 4 Jets players of all time. My favorite 4, okay. It'd be Garrett would be definitely on there just from like the overall consistency on the team. He's in there for sure. So I'd go Garrett. And then after that, I'm trying to think of like anyone who's still on the team from this year who I really, really like. Beyond Garrett, I mean, this year's team was so new, you'd probably have to go back to 2024. Garrett is definitely in there. Quinnen, I just love the overall dominance and everything that he brought to the table. Beyond that, you're looking at like I loved watching Jamal Adams. Like he was my first favorite player, and I know people aren't happy with the way that it kind of ended off, but Jamal would certainly have to be in there for me. And then that 4th spot I'd give to Sauce. Those are like my 4 favorite guys. And I know it's kind of similar to a Mount Rushmore, but those are my 4 favorite guys. Good question, though. I like the uniqueness of it there. Ladies and gentlemen, hit like, hit subscribe. Connor Long in for Jake Asman right here on a Friday afternoon edition of the Jake Asman Show, baby. We have a very special guest joining us shortly here on the show, a former Jet safety, Victor Green, is joining the show very shortly, so stay tuned for that. Victor will be calling in shortly. Get your questions loaded for Victor. He's actually joining us now. Here he is, former New York Jets safety, Victor Green, baby, giving us some of his time right here on the show. Victor, thanks so much for taking the time, my friend. How you been?
How you doing, my friend? I'm good. Thanks for having me.
I'm doing well. Thanks so much for taking the time.
I apologize for any noise you may hear in the background.
No, you're all good. You cut out for a little bit, but I think we got you.
Can you hear me?
So you are. Yeah, you're good. You're locked and loaded.
Okay.
I think
all right.
We're all good to go. Yeah, you know,
Okay,
I kind of just want to start with someone who you played with, someone who you've clearly kept a very close relationship with, and that's Aaron Glenn. Last year, before he was even hired, you were a big advocate of him getting the job with the Jets. You thought he was going to be a perfect fit as this team's head coach, and a large portion of this fan base, a large portion of his former teammates seem to feel that way as well. 1 year in, though, weren't the results that this fan base was looking for, didn't produce the results that I think he was hoping for either. What is your pitch to Jet fans as to why they should still believe in Aaron Glenn, your guy, entering year 2 of his regime? Oh, it looks like we're having some Wi-Fi problems. Yeah. You there, Victor?
Yeah, some difficulties here. Can you hear me?
Yeah. We got you now. Your screen is...
Okay. Should I call back in? I'm getting some interference here.
Yeah. Just try refreshing or whatever, and then rejoining the link.
Let me try calling back in. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Let's do that. Victor Green joining us here on the show, having some technical difficulties, but he'll try to call back in. Really looking forward to this segment, so I'm hoping the Wi-Fi is kind of the Wi-Fi is competent. So Victor is going to be calling back in, but definitely looking forward to hearing his thoughts on where the Jets stand, why fans should still believe in AG entering year 2, something we were just talking about, and he could obviously add a lot of perspective with. So in the meantime, get your questions, your comments, your thoughts in the chat for us to get to. Super chats will ensure they are read right away. Again, Victor Green, if you're just joining us, is going to be joining us shortly, but he is having some technical difficulties in his car. So he is going to be calling back in, and hopefully the Wi-Fi is good. Here he is. Victor, you there?
Yes. Can you hear me, Connor?
Much better. Thanks so much for taking the time. How are you doing?
Awesome. I'm good, man. Sorry about that.
No worries at all. So where I wanted to start and what I kind of preface before you cut out there is Aaron Glenn, a former teammate of yours, clearly still a very good friend of yours, someone who a lot of his former teammates, a large portion of his fan base advocated to be the Jets head coach last offseason. He gets the job. He hyped up the fan base. People were excited for what year 1 of AG could look like. Certainly did not go as planned. Finished the year with a 3-14 record. He's back for year 2, though. Victor, it seems like his approach to building the team, his approach with the media has certainly matured over being in that role for 1 season. Why should Jet fans still believe in Aaron Glenn as he enters year 2 after a 3-14 season?
Connor, as you know, I lobbied for Aaron, and I still believe in him. Aaron, adopted a team that, really wasn't ready to win now, right? He wasn't able to put his pulse on the team, if you will. But I think with the draft picks he had, he was able to go out and get some veteran players. I think he's ready. And, going in anything new, right? It's going to be different. It's going to be scary. He had to find his way. But I think he's landing on a platform where he understands how to be a head coach now, and I think he's the right man for the job. I really do, man. I think the players, first and foremost, is behind AG. And they were last year. The thing that I'm hoping for is would he give him an opportunity, right? I hope would he give him an opportunity beyond this year, because I think with the first rounders this year, with his stockpile next year, AG can build his team into something really special. And I think he's on a good spot. I think his head is a good spot. Him and Moog is a great tandem. And I think he's going to be great, man. I just hope that the fans give him an opportunity. And it's going to be some up and down, man. I think we'll have a winning season this year. And I think a winning season is a success for the Jets after going 3-14 right now, right? So any type of win, 8, even 9 wins right now can be very successful year for them.
Absolutely. I mean, Victor, this is an organization that hasn't cleared that 7 mark in over a decade. So 9 would be excellent to see and would be a very promising step in the right direction for AG and the roster and the way it's constructed, and would mean that the future quarterback who they're most likely going to draft next April would be stepping into the right situation. But this offseason, he shuffled up his coaching staff a little bit as well. I mean, 2 new coordinators, a lot of changes when it comes to positional coaches. What are your thoughts on he now calling the defense and taking over that power, which he dubbed his superpower at the NFL Scouting Combine, and then naming Frank Reich the offensive coordinator?
I think it's great. I mean, AG should have stepped up last year. And I think that is a sign of somebody who understanding the situation too. He knew that he had a first-time coordinators, and they wasn't very good coordinators. I mean, you had a tight end coach, never been a tight end, never been an offensive coordinator, never led a team, and he understand, hey, these guys not going to get me where I want to go. And he had to go out there and get somebody who was a head coach who understand the NFL game, and Frank Wright and calling the plays that he did in Detroit and New Orleans. And I think that's the best opportunity for him, man. So if I'm gonna sink this ship, I'm gonna sink it. I'm not gonna put it in somebody else's hand to do it for me. If I'm gonna win, I'm gonna win. I'm gonna lose. I'm gonna lose because I was at the helm. And I think that's a great opportunity, a great thing for him to do is to take over the defense.
Given how those hires played out, though, of Wilkes particularly at DC, who was fired in season last year, and then Tanner Engstrand, who he decided to can after year one, do you think it's valid for Jets fans to maybe be concerned about his eye for a coaching staff, just looking at the fact that he has two new coordinators in place after 1 year and fired his DC in season? Do you think it's fair for Jets fans to criticize that?
No, man, because, again, I mean, he's just trying to get the best that he could. When he got the job, a lot of the good ones was already taken, right? And he just had to kind of get leftovers, right? This year he had an opportunity to try to think about it and plan who he want to be at the front of his offensive defensive side of the ball. And look, fans and we always gonna look on the outside looking in. It's like, hey, they was on the outside, the picks that he had last year wasn't great. He recognized that. And that's the first sign, again, as somebody who understand that he don't have those guys in place that can take him places. The thing, right, with his pedigree as being a former player, head coach, and an offensive coordinator, I think, he's going to do well. Bringing Geno in, a veteran guy that understands how to win games. I think they'll be much better, but fans going to criticize, and I'm sure if he lose the first game, they're going to be on him again. But I just tell the fan, hey, be patient with this guy. He has the right temperament to turn this franchise around, and I'm not going to give up on him until I see that he can't do it. And right now, I think he can.
We'll go to that next. Geno Smith, who you just mentioned. Your thoughts on that addition and how we could potentially steady the ship with that tandem of him and Reich at offensive coordinator and quarterback?
I think Geno's coming in the right situation right now. We understand and we know that Geno's can play in the NFL, right? He's coming in with some weapons. He's coming in with a good offensive line. He's coming in with a good offensive coordinator. And I just think his last few years in Oakland or Las Vegas last year in Las Vegas wasn't great. I mean, he was probably one of the most psyched quarterbacks in the game, right? So he's coming in a good situation, a solid situation, and I think he's going to be good, man. Geno, when he first got to the Jets, I thought it was a great pickup in the third round, right? But Jericho Country, no disrespect to him, was his number one receiver. He was number two at best, right? So the guy got some weapons, not Wilson and not Cooper. It's going to be great.
Looks like we lost Victor again there, the Wi-Fi bug.
And I think he's going to be great, man. I think it's great fill-in for their franchise quarterback to come in, whoever it will be.
Do the off-field concerns that have started to arise these past couple weeks concern you at all, Victor, whether it be the domestic violence accusations at the moment and then the stuff we've seen with the traffic stops? Do those concern you at all?
I'm having what's hearing you is very helpful to me because I can't.
Same here. Yeah,
it's
your
like
screen went.
Character speaking, and I can't understand.
Yeah, your screen is.
I can't understand. I don't know.
Yeah, your screen has gone dark for us too. You want to try one more time, backing out and re-entering?
Yeah, let me try it one last time.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Victor. Stand by. Victor Green battling some Wi-Fi issues, but definitely has been a fun conversation so far. If you guys are just joining us, to sum it up, he's still confident in Aaron Glenn. He thinks these new additions, the way the roster has been constructed, is much more positive, is going to give him an opportunity to win more games this season. He's confident in Geno Smith at quarterback, and he is joining us back right now. Still waiting for his camera to load on StreamYard, but he is there. Victor, are you with us? There you go. We got you, Victor. There we go. Finally.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
I can. Can you hear me? I think it might be the volume then on his phone because.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you. We can't see you, but that's okay. We can hear you at the very least. Still cutting out. Yeah. Technical difficulties, unfortunately. Hopefully we can get this ironed out some point soon and we can go back to that because it's been a fun conversation so far. And I know you guys have a lot of questions and I have those queued up to share with him, but it looks like he is battling some issues on his end as it pertains to Wi-Fi. He's in his car, which we know StreamYard isn't great with, but it should be hopefully he could leave, rejoin, and we can get back on the right track and I can get to what you guys had ready for him in the chat. He's back in StreamYard. His device is not connected though. So hopefully, okay, the old part left. Now his camera isn't there. Okay. One last try. Victor Green. Here we go. Can you hear me? Okay. We can hear you.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect. Thank you. Sorry about that. I think it's like just you being in the car, me here. It's all good. StreamYard could be a pain sometimes. Thanks for sticking with us. Oh my God. Oh. No. Victor.
Can you hear me, Connor? You can't hear me?
Yeah, no, I can hear you now, but you kind of been cut.
Can you hear me?
I can. Yeah, you're just cutting in and out, like from when I can hear you.
All right, what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna pull over here, Connor, and see if that can make a difference.
Okay, thank you so much. We appreciate it. All right. Yeah, we are. Yeah. Perfect. We'll drop you off and then just let us know. Kind of rejoin when you are stationary. But yeah, with the car and stuff, it's kind of tough. As you guys know who call from car from time to time. StreamYard can be a pain and things of that nature. Guys, if you've submitted a question or super chatted one in for Victor, I have it queued up and ready to go. Where we left off, if you're just joining us, his thoughts on Geno Smith. If the off-field issues are concerning, then we'll get, we're going to lead with your chats. Because then you guys are, and this is the show's for the people. So your guys' chats are far more important than what he may think about Geno Smith's off-field concerns. So we're going to lead with those so we can make sure they're in. So if there's any Wi-Fi issues, we make sure your chats were read for you guys right here on the show. Again, sorry about this. I appreciate the continued support. Thank you all for sticking with us right here on the program. Victor Green, we've had him on for a few questions, but the Wi-Fi bug has kind of attacked him. So he is pulling over, and hopefully he will be ready to join back and the Wi-Fi issues will be put to rest. Again, thank you all for joining us right here on the show. Stand by. Victor Green, former Jets safety, teammate, advocate of Aaron Glenn, joining us right here on the Jake Asman Show. Myself, Connor Long, in for Jake Asman, right here on a Friday edition of the Jake Asman Show. Attempt number 20, it seems, at this point. But Victor, we got you for now. How you doing? You there?
I'm pulling over. Can you hear me?
Thank you so much. Yes, we can. Thanks so much for accommodating us.
Awesome. All
appreciate
right.
it.
Let's try.
Yeah. We'll dive into the chat. We'll go back to Geno in a little bit, but just want to make sure everyone who has a question for you in the chat gets that read. Derek, Kansas Jet fan, starts off with a $5 super chat. Says, VG, thank you so much for the time here today. I was just wondering what your favorite play and moment was with AG as your teammate.
My playing moment with AG. I mean, we had so many plays, man. I think, I guess my favorite moment with AG is before the game even starts. We always go in the corner and end zone and say our prayer. That I know we have some, answer the questions or the answer you want to hear, but we always did as a parent. I don't know if I know there's some video out there or some picture stills, him and I in the end zone. That's always been a favorite moment of ours. We had our little contact while we're out in the field, him and I doubling a receiver or covering a receiver. It was just small things like that we knew I knew what he wanted to do. Like sometimes, he'd be a dover and he's like, I got him, and I go down with Ray Mickens or something. There's little things like that where we just knew each other. I knew how he wanted to play. Being the safety, I was calling the defense back there. And AG just wanted to play with, man. He was a little fireball, AG, what you see, how him coaching, that was AG out on the field, man. You think AG was this little nice little guy, which he was, but AG had a temper, man. He would go up in you. Not me, because I know how to handle him, but he would go up in guys, man, and get in their face and bow up on them. But our moments together, man, was always kind of indirectly away from just making a play. It was always just knowing each other and knowing how each other wanted to play a game.
Now, I know you said you were leading the back end of the defense and calling it, obviously, when you guys were teammates, but just being around him right away, did you get the sense like, hey, this guy's a leader. He could be a head coach one day. Did you get that vibe from him right off the jump?
I did not. I talked all, in the off season, and I didn't realize or I didn't see that he can be a head coach until he was in Detroit. Right. I think it was the first year when his name started to be mentioned, and I talked to him and he started talking like a head coach. Right. And I was like, well, shoot, man, AG might be ready. But it took 2 more seasons, I think, before he got this opportunity, maybe 4. But he started talking like a head coach. He started talking in terms of building a team. And this is the defense I want to run, and this is the type of scheme that I want my offense to look like. I mean, he started talking like a coach, man. And so early on, I didn't really see AG as a head coach, to be honest with you. It as that point, and I was like, oh shoot, he may be ready to start stepping into that realm, but it wasn't until later till I figured that out.
M. Valette says, VG, what was it like to play for Coach Parcells, and do you think his style could still succeed with the modern player?
AG is doing it right now. I mean, I think
good point. I was thinking that.
mimicking Bill Parcells in a sense. I mean, I see it. I mean, I love Parcells, by the way. I think him and Belichick probably the best 2 coaches that ever coached in the game. And I'm not talking about Super Bowls or whatever, but in terms of understanding the game, and Belichick, I said this about him, and I know he's not, with the Patriots, but this dude probably was the best coach of any position in the NFL. I mean, special team, DC head coach, but Parcells was a mind, more so was a mind. He liked to play with your mind. That's our Parcells. You remember when he was in and with the Patriots, he used to call the running back. He was, she hurt today. She don't feel what was the receiver name? Glenn, first round draft pick out, I think Ohio State. He passed away, but that's him. And he used to like to play games and with players to get them going. That was his motivation. And and I loved him. I love Parcells, and I think AG is he's not doing it in the sense Parcell had us practicing and pass on Fridays, doing live goal line on Fridays. AG is not going to do that, right? That style probably wouldn't go, but AG is mimicking Parcell. Doubt about that. That's my take on it. He may not say he's mimicking him, but I guarantee he's taking some page out of his book.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a great point there. The Jets, though, Victor, drafted 2 defensive backs going back to kind of the current state of the team. D'Angelo Pons, who's drawn a lot of AG comps at number 50, and then VJ Payne played your position, safety, in the 7th round. How'd you feel about the DBs the Jets got into the building through the draft?
I had the opportunity to watch Pounds. That's one in Indiana, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Pounds?
Yep. Pons.
Yes. Yeah. Pons, yeah. Pons, he played with my son. My son played in Indiana. The year they lost against Notre Dame. He was on that team. So I got to watch Pons a little bit. Very feisty little player. I think he's going to bring a lot to that team. I think he plays a lot like AD, to be honest with him, undersized, but he plays with attitude that I think AG's liked, and that's why they brought him in. Don't know much about the safety. We got to see how he conduct himself back there running the defense, because I think that's what it's going to take. But AG seemed to like both of those kids, and we'll see how they play.
Yeah, absolutely. And where we were before we got cut off last time, you talked about Geno Smith and how you like the experience that he brings to the table, fitting with Frank Reich this year. What I was going to ask you is about the off-field issues. We've seen the accusations of, I guess the crime that it would fit would be domestic violence if he were to be proven guilty of it. And then multiple times since being signed by or traded for, by this organization, he has been pulled over and hasn't necessarily cooperated with police as it pertains to proving license or your registration or tags being up to date. Do the off-field concerns regarding Geno Smith, who's a veteran now in this league, concern you at all, Victor?
It does. It does, because Geno should know better. I mean, you can't put yourself in those situations. I mean, you got to understand, with social medias and cell phones, things of that nature, man, you just can't put yourself in a situation where you can be looked at as the villain, no matter if you was in the right or the wrong. You got to step away from that situation. I don't think I'm hopeful and prayerful it don't ruin his season this year, thinking about all the legal stuff. But, I'm not worried in the sense of, football-wise, because I think he's professional enough to go out there and play the game the way it's supposed to be played. But it was very immature of him to put him in that situation where it can be at this point where it is.
I agreed with you 100%. Like, you want to see more. If you're a quarterback, like if he can't carry his license and he can't do that, how is he going to remember the plays in the huddle? How, when the Jets are losing or when they, are in a rough patch, how is he going to be the right guy to lead them past it and get on the right track and be that voice of reason in the locker room? So I agree with it overall from like a morale standpoint, but at the end of the day, like him on the surface getting a traffic citation doesn't change my evaluation of him as a quarterback or what he could be this season. It's further kind of like what you alluded to, the deeper meaning of it. How do you feel about the infrastructure on offense in particular the Jets have provided them with entering his first season first season and second stint with the Jets?
I think he's in the perfect situation. You look at the Sadiq, who they drafted in the first round. You got Jason Taylor's son, who they seem to like, who had some big moments last year. They got Wilson, and now you got the receiver that they drafted in the first round. So he got weapons. He got weapons, and tight ends is becoming a big part of offenses these days. Mm-hmm. There's security blankets, and I think Geno being a smart quarterback, a veteran guy, he understands his checkdowns. And those two can be two of the better tight ends in this game right now, right? Because all the attention is going to be on Garrett. What's the receiver again name? They drafted in the first round.
Omar Cooper Jr.
Omar Cooper, yeah. With those two guys, a lot of attention is going to be. I think the tight ends are going to be a big security blanket for him. So he got a good offensive line, got a great running game with Priest Hall and Braylon back this year, looking like a monster back there in the backfield.
Yeah,
like he came out of a GNC store, So they look really good on paper right now, man. I think they had a great draft. I think Geno coming into a great season. If he can keep his head in the game, which I think he's a professional, like I said, he's in a great situation to make a Pro Bowl this year.
Anthony, shout out to you for the super chat. Says, hey, Victor, which interception or game is most memorable from your Jet years? Tough question there, but I'm sure you got an answer.
One of my big, one of my game winning was against Brett Favre. I played in this golf tournament where I did play in it for a long time, and I think that was the first game of the season, and I closed them out with an interception on the sideline to win the game. AG actually was in coverage there, and so that's just him and Peyton Manning. When I see him, I kind of chuck at him about intercepting them in big moments, and we had one with Ray Mickens covering Marvin Harrison. I stepped in front of that one and went down the sideline a little bit. So I like those are two memorable moments that I always do because they were two Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
Certainly. Two more before we wrap. Victor, again, thanks so much for taking the time. I want to go back to your career and just your journey to being a difference maker in the NFL. You were an undrafted free agent, and we've kind of seen over the past few years with the Jets, there have been some UDFAs who have made the 53-man roster and made a difference. But if you could kind of just take us back to draft night goes by, well, multiple days of the draft go by, you weren't selected, you were a UDFA, you sign. How were you able not only to make a 53-man roster, but also be a difference maker in the NFL? What fueled you to stick with it and take that gritty, long, grueling in a way process instead of maybe just hanging it up and calling it quits after not being drafted?
That was a very frustrating day. I mean, I was rated, I think I had a 92 grade, and I was going to be drafted. It was, looking at being drafted with the second to the fourth round. That's where I was looking at. So after the fourth round came and
No, the Wi-Fi bug hit us again. It happened. It was, at least we got a really, and hopefully his thing comes back here before he has to drop off StreamYard. Hopefully his connection comes back. But even if that's the end of the conversation because of the Wi-Fi bug, it was great to get Victor's thoughts on the team, talk about his career, share everything with us right here on the Jake Asman Show. So hopefully it comes back. I'm monitoring right down low, and there it is. It's back. You there, Victor? He dropped off. So hopefully he will join back. But if not, I'm really happy that while it was up rocky and not fully together, about 25 or so minutes with Victor Green. So it was a great conversation. Again, if he's unable to join back, he has the link and he's back. Here he is, waiting for his camera to load and see if he has the connection so we can keep this going. But been a great conversation so far with Victor, talking about his thoughts on current state of the team, his career, and there he is. You're back, Victor. We'll wrap with this one if you kind of want to resume that story where you left off, talking about how you were projected to go in the second to fourth round.
Can you hear me?
Yes. You can't hear me? Can you hear me? You got me? Let's see. I can. You were on mute. I can hear you're unmuted now. Can you hear me? Yeah, some technical issues there. Appreciate you all. Thanks for the continued support. Derek says you did an awesome job, man. I sure speak for everyone in the chat when I say we greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much for the kind words, guys. Again, thank you all for sticking with us right here on the show. Victor Green, former Jets safety, spending some time with us. He's continuing to have technical issues. So we'll see if we can get him back. But if not, it's not the end of the world because we did have a great conversation. Again, thank you all for hanging out with us. Hit like, hit subscribe. Appreciate the continued support right here on the channel, baby. Beast, our IT guy. Any advice for what's going on?
Not that I know of. Not that I know of. I was just having a little heat headache. That's all today. Hey, question. I was going to ask you on. So I was trying to get on your show a couple of weeks ago, and I'm keep getting this blocked message. I'm like, what?
Yeah, Beast. I don't know. Beast, hit me up off air about that. Victor's back though. We got to go back to him. So let's see if his Wi-Fi is fixed.
Let me see if I can get you on the Instagram, and then we'll take it from there.
Thank you, Victor. Beast ate some time for you. You there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
We have some problems here. Can you hear me or no?
I can. Can you hear me? Check 1, check 2. You got me?
I don't know what's going on here because.
Yeah. Check. Okay. Yeah. Don't worry. You're all good. Don't worry. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I don't want to take up too much of Victor's time. It's supposed to be a 30-minute segment. We've passed that now, largely due to the technical difficulties. Yeah, so I'm just going to let him know. Don't worry about joining back. We appreciate it. Again, sorry for the up and down connection, but it was great to get him on, talk about his thoughts on his team that he played for and his career with the Jets and so on and so forth. So, yes, Victor Green, former Jet safety, giving us some of his time right here on the show. All right, perfect. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. Wish the connection would have been a little better, but unfortunately it wasn't. We were still able to get some really, really solid questions in with him, and we were able to pull the vast majority of your thoughts up here on the show, especially all those that were super chatted in. So I'm happy about that. Again, thank you all for sticking with us. I appreciate the kind words, appreciate the continued support right here on the channel. Gator says, oh my God, Victor Green had to see Beast. That was unfortunate. It was, but Beast, thank you for your IT help and helping me fill air there. You're the best.
Thumbs up.
Appreciate you. Thank you, man. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for joining us right here on the channel. Again, I'm sorry for the technical issues, but Victor Green, former Jet safety, gave us some of his time right here on the channel. It was a blast going back and forth with him. Happy we got to interact with you guys and pull some of your thoughts up on the screen and your questions for Victor and get to those. So again, thank you all for sticking with us. Sorry about the technical issues. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much for hanging out right here on the Jake Asman Show. Can't thank you enough. Connor Long in for Jake Asman right here on a Friday edition of the show. Thank you all again. Really, really appreciate the continued support and sticking with us throughout those issues. Hit like, hit subscribe. Gangrene Beach Club tomorrow, baby. Not too late to get your tickets. Link in the description down below. So no show tomorrow. I think Jake said no show over the weekend. So he'll be back Monday. Again, thank you all for the continued support right here on the channel. I'm Connor Long right here on the Jake Asman Show saying thank you all. Have a great weekend, everyone. And as always, JTS, baby. Jets, Jets, Jets. Peace out.
Oh, hi. Jake wants me to ask you to click on the like button.
That's right, Lane. And if they don't subscribe to the Jake Asman Show, this team may never win another game. Let's go, Jets.